to be, and each of you will answer each question. So the first question is, how long have you practiced law, and in which divisions of the court? And the part two of that question is, which one case are you the most proud of and why?
Hi, everyone. I'm Eleanor Bush. I've been a lawyer for almost 25 years. Almost all of that time focused on advocacy for children and families, particularly children in the foster care system. My goal in running for judge is to serve on family court and continue doing the same kind of work that's brought me so much satisfaction over the years. I think it would be a privilege to serve our children and families as a judge. One of the cases that I've been involved in that I'm most proud of involved a client I had who was a severely disabled little boy named Danny. Never lived a day of his life with his birth parents. Eventually was placed in foster care. Took 7 years for him to be adopted, which is wrong. No court process should take that long. And not only was I able to see him and his foster family through that process, but I was then able to successfully advocate for reforms that cut years off that legal process and are actually have been replicated around the state.
Same question.
Question.
Thank you. My name is Patrick Connolly. I've been practicing. I'm in my 19th year practicing. I practice primarily in the civil division. I'd say 85% of my practice is in the civil division. As far as the case that I'm most proud of, it's going to be tough to sum it up in a minute, but I'll try. I represented an individual. He was actually from Belfast in Northern Ireland, and he was assaulted in a bar on the south side. Again, very long story that went into this, but they denied responsibility. We ended up having to file a lawsuit. We did so. Continued to deny liability. We went to verdict. We tried the case, jury trial. They returned a verdict of both compensatory and punitive damages against the bar, the bouncers that were responsible, that denied they were responsible. They wouldn't pay it. We had to start the execution process. It was a very long, drawn-out process. But what I'm most proud of, not just the successful result that we got, we were ultimately repaid, but the case ultimately resulted in it's a published opinion from the Pennsylvania Superior Court on awarding of punitive damages against the corporation. So again, I'm proud that it was a successful result, but it was also, like I said, it is a precedential opinion now in the state of Pennsylvania. Sure.
Hi everyone, my name is Marcia Cooper, and I have been practicing law for the past 24 years after graduating from this institution. I have practiced in the civil division. I'm currently practicing in the juvenile family division, and I have practiced in the orphans court division. The only division I have not practiced in is the criminal division. I think if you were to ask me my most significant case, it would be actually a medical malpractice case, wherein we represented a little 5-year-old boy who was intubated improperly in Altoona and ended up with severe brain damage, non-functioning, blind. And we were able to secure a verdict for him that enabled him to live the rest of his life at the McGuire home. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the McGuire home, but it's a beautiful facility for handicapped children, where he remains today, and it receives really world-class care. And I'm really proud to be a part of that for him.
Hi, I'm Mark Daff. Oh, I thought you had a kill switch over there. Anyway, I'm Mark Daffner, and that's actually spelled M-A-R-C, not M-A-R-K. You just have to remember the last name. I've been practicing 20 years. My practice has been criminal, family, and commercial litigation, and I've practiced statewide in both state and federal court. As for the case that I'm most proud of, I should say that I'm most proud of today, because there have been many of them over the years, I represented the defendant in an appeal to the Third Circuit Court of Appeals in the very first case out of the Western District that held that President Obama's Fair Sentencing Act of 2010 could be applied retroactively, meaning applied to somebody that was found guilty or pled guilty prior to the passage of the act, but sentenced after the act. And that caused all sorts of problems, and it is now the law in the United States.
That's probably close enough? Yeah, right, yeah.
Should I start? Hi, my name's Barbara Ernstberger, and I have practiced in all divisions of the court, although my primary focus has been in the civil, family, and in the orphans court division. I've also practiced in the appellate courts and in the federal courts. I was trying to think of what would be my most significant case, and I decided to pick one out of the cluster of MetLife cases that my law firm tried. We represented 250 cases, which was 400 individuals, against the MetLife Insurance Company for fraudulent sale of life insurance and annuities. And we took those cases to trial. The whole project ranged from 1992 to 2007. So I'll pick one of those. I represented a widow who was 91 years old at the time of trial. At age 78, she had purchased many policies over the course of her life, those old industrial policies, and they had her converted. They persuaded her to buy one policy that would cover everything and give her all this money, the real purpose of which was to take her money. When she didn't pass the physical, they had her insure her oldest daughter, which means she had no coverage whatsoever, which I won that case and was able to reinstitute her 21 policies on all her family that they had collected. And we won 7 appellate victories, by the way. Any of you law students can find them that help consumers in Pennsylvania. Thank you.
My name is Marvin Liebus. I'm also a candidate for judge. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank everybody for coming here on a snowy day. Now, I've been an attorney for over 35 years, actually going on my 36th year. I specialize in criminal law, civil law, and bankruptcy, but I do cases in all divisions, and I do appellate work, and I do federal work. Now, it's hard to think of what your one case that your top was, but I did a case. The title was Jeffrey Sicarica versus Nationwide Insurance Company, where I sued the insurance company on behalf of the trustee in bankruptcy. And this case went up to the Third Circuit, and it was a presidential opinion. It was based on it was a good result. It was a presidential opinion based on when you can remove a case from. The case started in state court, moved to federal court, and this case is a presidential opinion in the Third Circuit on removal, and also everything else in the case. It's a 2004 case, and it's when I checked a month ago, it was cited everywhere for that. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's P.J. Murray. I am in my 25th year of practice, really 23 if you take away the 2 years I spent with a federal judge named Baron McCune as his law clerk. So I'm really in my 23rd year of actual private practice. I practice primarily in the civil division, although I've tried my share of criminal cases. Many of those go before magistrates, and they get resolved there. The one case I want to talk about today is one that I'm very proud of to have won in a very difficult set of circumstances. I represented a small business owner on a construction project, and he didn't get paid for his work. And we filed a claim and actually tried the case. In that case, there was a counterclaim that was almost double what our claim was. So we were looking at, if we lost that case, a verdict or a judgment almost twice of what we were out, so of getting paid. And he turned to me at some point before the end of the case, and he asked me what was the potential, and I told him, and he said, if we lose this case, I'm out of business. And we won it, and so it's a happy ending. So.
Hi, I'm Richard Schubert. I've been in practice for 32 years. I'm in my 33rd year. I've been in private practice the entire time. Most of my work has been civil work. I have tried a case in orphans court, actually, and I've done a lot of different things, from medical malpractice to automobile accident claims. If I had to pick one case, and I can't pick one case, but if you force me, I'd have to tell you about a workers' compensation case I had. I represented 2 brothers, one for a long time and one for just one case. And the fellow that I represented on the one case was always unhappy. And, I think it was the financial strain of his situation. So we got a good result in his case. And about 6 months after the case resolved, the other brother called me up, and he said, Rich, he says, my family made me call you. I was going to call you anyway because we wanted to thank you. He says, you changed Mike's life. And I can't think of a better compliment from a client than to hear that his life changed for the better.
Hi, my name's Craig Stevens. I got admitted to practice in 1994 in Pennsylvania. I also got admitted to practice in the state of New York in 2002, although I don't practice in New York. I have experience in the family division, the orphans division, and in the civil division. I'm currently an assistant county solicitor, so I have a broad range of experience in my job as a solicitor. I do a lot of different things. The one case or cases that stick out to me is in my duty as a solicitor, I handle child abuse expungement hearings for the Department of Public Welfare. That is when somebody is accused of abusing a child. Usually it's sexual or physical abuse. There is an investigation done by CYF, and then there's an indicated report if there's enough evidence to uphold that. Well, that individual then, their name is in the registry, and oftentimes they want to expunge their name when they want to try to get clearances. They then file what's known as an expungement proceeding to have their name removed, and they have a hearing. My job is to put a case on, and I'm proud of the fact that a lot of these cases have been upheld. These are children that are abused and so forth. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.